Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement. Today's video, we're gonna be talking about VCRs, and probably an interesting video where I don't really cover much, but I picked up this VCR here at the thrift store today. It's a Philips, what model number? VR960 4-head hi-fi VHS VCR, and it's Super VHS with VHS ET, which means it can record Super VHS on regular non-Super VHS tapes. I haven't really talked about this much on the channel, but I think everyone knows I have a love affair with CRTs, maybe bordering on an addiction, but I also kind of, well, recently at least, I've really been liking VHS decks. Now, the funny thing is, I got rid of all my VHS tapes except for like just a couple years and years ago, and all the VCRs that went with it. And recently, I'm kind of wanting to rekindle the, I don't know, not the joys of VHS, the struggles of VHS, like all of that. I used to record a lot of TV onto videotapes. It was my way of time shifting, right? So I would max out the program schedule on the VCR, and then I would go back and watch those tapes later, fast forwarding through commercials and stuff like that. In the end, I used to have this pretty high-end JVC VCR. It's like a gold color, had a time-based corrector in it, and it had commercial skip built in. So it would record, and if I recall, it would go back and scan through the tape quickly, looking for the commercial breaks, and it would mark those on the tape so that as you were playing, you could quickly skip over all the commercials, and it would do a pretty good job of it. It also marked the tape with index marks, so it was a lot easier to find recorded programs. So every time you started recording or it started recording, it would mark an index mark. I'm trying to think if it would mark the time and date with the mark. I'm not sure if it did that or not. I have a Panasonic VCR now that does that, so that's pretty helpful. But you could use a remote to just skip like 3 programs ahead, and that way you could find the stuff you recorded pretty easily. Anyhow, these days it's kind of hard to find VHS VCRs. A lot of them have just been tossed out, or they don't work anymore. And for some reason here in the Portland area, the VCRs don't show up that often in thrift stores. I don't do a lot of thrift store shopping anymore. I already have too much stuff in the house. But I stopped off to actually drop things off to be donated today, and I thought, oh, just let me quickly look inside. And I just do a really quick pass through. And there were 2 VHS VCRs sitting there, this one and a really junky, no-name brand, into the 2000s, that they had those weird brands selling them. It wasn't even like symphonic. It was something I had never heard of before. It was junk. I just left that thing behind. This VCR, though, like I said, $10. I was able to plug it in, so at least it powered up. I was able to turn it off and on, and I peered inside. I could see the head was spinning briefly when it powered up. But interesting is at this thrift store, they had not a single VHS tape. Otherwise, I would have grabbed one, at least tried to play in this VCR, see if it could at least load the tape. Anyhow, this thing is pretty decent. What kind of caught my eye on it is it's one of the less wide versions. The width of the machine is less than these Panasonic ones I have, I think. They all seem to be just a little bit wider. And I was actually looking to have a VCR I could put upstairs underneath the TV I have up there, which is on a little cart. And the wider VCRs just don't fit on the cart. I think this should. So taking a look at the front here, you got some interesting branding here. Philips, like I said, looks like there is front inputs, although no Super VHS input on the front. VCR Plus. This is something they had in the US and Canada where you looked in the TV guide, and next to a program you wanted to record, it would have a 5-6 digit code. And on VCRs that supported VCR Plus, in the programming menu, you just typed in that code and it would automatically schedule that specific recording for you. So you did not have to put in the channel, time, date, et cetera, et cetera. It was able to do that from VCR Plus. Turbo drive, whatever the hell that means. Match line, has match and 3 dashes line. Got a menu button on the front. I don't have a remote, of course, for this. Channel up, down, record button. We have play, stop, eject, fast forward. Looks like it might have frame advance, backwards and forwards, still pause, and SVHS ET mode. So that's to turn on the ability for the VCR to record the SVHS, like I said, on regular VHS tapes. It's funny because by the end of the VHS run, into the, by the time this VCR came out, which is, late in the cycle, even regular tapes you bought were high enough quality that you could record Super VHS on them with no problems. And that's exactly what the ET mode did. Super VHS ET itself is just a slight tweak on the regular Super VHS standard that basically, I think it lowers some of the luminance levels slightly on the Super VHS tapes. But when you play back a Super VHS ET tape, VCR like this will say, ET playback. But if you stick it into an older Super VHS VCR that doesn't even support ET, it can still play it back. The playback is backwards compatible with regular Super VHS decks, even the ones that were precursor to the ET mode. But honestly, the only difference between a Super VHS tape and a regular tape is a little sense hole on it. I mean, there might be some differences in the way the tape is made itself, the magnetic material that's on it, especially in the early days. But back when I had a Super VHS deck, I think I had one before the ET mode, and I just used to drill out that extra little hole, and I would record Super VHS on regular tapes, and it worked fine. And then later I got that silver JVC I'm talking about. It had the ET mode, and I'm pretty sure I used that because, yes, the quality when you have ET is a lot better. Let's see what else is going on with this VCR here. On the back, these X's here, this has to do with like the stock keeping of the thrift store. So yeah, video cassette recorder, like I said, VR960B, 120 volts, 22 watts, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, here it is, manufactured in Malaysia. Pretty much everything VCR-wise was made in Malaysia by the end. There is a date, July 2000. Philips Consumer Electronics. I do have to wonder, did Philips actually manufacture VHS mechanisms, at least this late in the game? Or is this machine branded Philips, but the reality is like it's a Funai mechanism or a JVC or a Panasonic mechanism? I thought by the end you had JVC and Panasonic making mechanisms, and maybe you had Funai or maybe some other companies. So we have SVHS in and out here, or S-Video in and out here. We have a regular AV input, RF in and out. What else is going on? There's a little switch here. It looks like it's for the channel selector for the RF output. Panasonic VCRs, which is all the VCRs I have around the house right now are Panasonic. I think I have a Toshiba as well. That setting is in the menu. But on this one, you do have to swap the little switch here. Bottom, nothing much going on. It's just plastic as is usual. Ooh, the side looks nasty. What the hell? It's like someone took a rag and wiped it with coffee or something. Not much on the other side, and it does have a Philips logo on the top. All right, so let's test this out. I'm gonna move the camera and take the cover off and we'll look inside. All right, so let's get this cover off because I just wanna make sure that nothing looks obviously broken on the inside. If this thing doesn't work, I don't think I can return it. So it is junk and it will go to e-waste. I mean, I'll try to fix it if it's something simple, but if it's something not simple, like gears are broken or it's seriously damaged inside, then like I said, this is gonna be tossed out. If you're buying an old VCR like this, whoops, stuff falling over on the bench here, I do recommend that before you actually put a tape in it, you should take the top off and just look inside. Alrighty, so there it is. Let me get my magnifying goggles on here. So you want to check that things aren't like obviously broken in here. This stuff all looks fine. The pinch roller there for the capstan, that looks decent. There's a lot of filth on the, the capstan, right? So I'm gonna have to clean that. This is the audio head. I think tracking and stuff like that, linear audio and the control signals come through this head. The spinning head here, of course, is a 4-head unit. Let's see, I'll tilt this up so you can maybe get a look, zoom in. All right, so you can see the little heads. There's heads right there. And there's a head, and there's a head. Yeah, so there's groups of 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2. So that's the when it says 4 heads. Now this actually has 6 heads because to have hi-fi audio actually has an extra set of heads. So I'm not super familiar if it's like the front head or the back head has 2 in there. It has the hi-fi audio and the regular head. Now, VHS and I think beta in the NTSC land, like the US and Canada here, actually, oh, that's funny. I don't know what that's all about. It actually lays down the audio first, if I recall, at a different azimuth. So it's like a different angle on the tape. And then the video is actually recorded on top of the hi-fi signal. And they are at different frequencies so that while the video is overwriting the audio, there's enough, I keep hitting that, there's enough of the audio left in the tape, kind of deeper in the tape, that it's able to pick it up when it's being played back. So the video does not completely erase the audio that's written down first. Now, of course, for the audio and the video, it's recording like in helical scan. So the tape is loaded up. We'll see that in a second. And, you know, it's swiping across the tape really quickly. So hi-fi audio is actually reading from one head to the other. So there's circuitry in the head, and, you know, maybe it's up here that switches between the two heads very quickly. This will, if I recall, one revolution of this is one set of video fields. So it's an interlaced video signal, right? Say it's 720 by 480. Well, one rotation is 240 lines, and then the next one is the other 240 lines. Anyhow, I'm not super expert at videotape. If you want to know more about it, you check out the Wikipedia article, because that's certainly gonna give you better information than me. All right, so this VCR here, you can see here's the power supply. This is a switch mode power supply. So yeah, you want to make sure that you don't see bulging caps, things that look all screwy. There's a dead bug there. Let me get the tweezers. Look at this. Oh, it's just a piece of tape. It's not actually a dead bug, okay. But I'm just inspecting these caps here, just making sure that nothing's leaking. It all looks completely fine. Power resistors there, that looks good as well. For loading the tape, this is the mechanism here. I think this is the motor that does that, and there's a belt right here. So if this belt is slipping, well, that of course can cause issues. What's going on here? Why is this spring like this? That's weird. It's almost like this is a way to adjust the tension on this spring here. So far, so good. Let's see here. This is the back tension here. That looks okay. Yep, that's not broken. Everything is good. I don't see any debris or that little bit of crap there. This here is a head cleaning thing. Honestly, I don't like these. So what this can do right here, I'm not sure you can see it. I'm going to tilt the VCR up here. See this little foam thingy here? This supposedly rubs against the heads to clean them. I don't like those because they start to degrade over time. So I'm just going to pull this whole thing off if I can. I'm not really familiar with this particular mechanism. Okay, so I don't know how to get this off, so I'm just going to take the whole wheel off. There we go, just pull this off manually. There it is. It's just like a little foam thing. I just don't like those because as they degrade, it can just put a bunch of crap on the head, which isn't gonna help your video playback capability. All right, if we look over here, so this is the tuner. I have my hand on here. That's a pretty big thing, but yeah, whatever. There's this little extra board here, so there could be bad solder joints on that. Got some ribbon cables here. Gosh, there's a lot of caps. Look at this. Look at all those caps on there. There's a whole ton. None look leaky though, so that's good. Another little board right here. It's kind of wobbly, so that could be a bad connection as well. Who knows? We're just looking for potential problems. I think everything else is okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a bit of weird rubbing there. I wonder if the tape got caught at one point. All right, I think it's time to at least plug this in. So let me cut away. There's an extra zip tie on here. Oh, these clippers are dead. Absolutely dead. All right, so let's get this powered up, see what happens. All right, the head spun up. So that's a good sign. We got some flashing lights on the front that say, I don't know, there's a clock and a tape icon flashing. But when we turn it on, I don't know, is that focused in? There it is, it says channel 2, SLP. As is, oh, there's a level meter. I can see that's kind of nice. Oh, of course the glare is keeping you from seeing that. It's all very dim. This thing probably got a lot of use. As is typical with a lot of these VCRs, there's no easy way to change the speed of the recording from the front. Maybe it's in the menu on this. All the Panasonics I have, you gotta use the darn remote. And even like a universal remote, I have some like cheap universal remotes, they don't have a button for speed. Luckily, what I do have is some Logitech Harmony, which were like programmable universal remotes. You program them on your computer, and luckily you could still program those. Logitech has discontinued the whole Harmony line, but they've kept the programming stuff online and available. So yeah, I've actually recently programmed one of mine for some of my other stuff, like for Panasonic, so I can switch the speed on those. All right, but anyways, that's really great that turning this on caused the head to spin. What I want to do is give this head a little bit of a clean. Here's a top tip, and I learned this from 12 Volt Vids. Check out his channel if you're into repairing this kind of stuff. He was a repairman, like in a shop for VCRs. I think they did Sony and Panasonic and JVC. So he's really knowledgeable about that stuff. Now he's just a hobbyist like me, but of course he has the experience of fixing many, many things like DATs and tape decks, like audio cassettes and VCRs, TVs, stereos, I mean, the works. And in a commercial setting, he learned how to do it quickly and effectively. So his method, and I really like, is take a piece of paper and add some isopropyl alcohol to it, like this. And you're gonna rub the head. So the head on VCR always turns counterclockwise, and that is the way you wanna do it. So you put your hand on there, and you basically turn this. You put your finger on it, and you'll see, I bet a bunch of crap's gonna come off. He says, and I understand that you don't want to turn it any other way. You want to be very careful about those heads because the heads there are fragile and can get damaged. So let's see what it came off. Look at that. That crud just came off the head there. So I'll do it again. Just always go counterclockwise. That's the key. Still a bit coming off there. So I'll do it one more time here. The little openings on the head that I was showing, you know, when you looked at the head close up there, that's what you want to be careful of. You do not want to damage the little tiny head that's inside there. Wow, there's still a little bit of crap coming off here. Let's keep going. All right, that's pretty good now. Next up, you want to clean this right here, which is the erase head, and this right here, which is the audio and the control head. And you want to also clean these things like these metal parts here that the tape rolls over or rides on. So I'm just going to use this little thing here, and first we'll do the cap stand, which, yep, as I can see, it's pretty cruddy looking. You can use just a regular cotton swab on this as well. Okay, and the audio head here. Now the control signals is what like picks up sync and stuff like that, as far as I'm aware. And if this is dirty or messed up, you know, you might have problems with tracking, issues like that. I should have probably tried to load a tape in this thing first before I actually clean any of this, because this thing could be broken for all I know. It is very typical on these types of VCRs that there, like I said, there's this loading belt right here, and there's one more belt on the bottom here. It probably goes from like a motor here, and this is what turns the spindles here for, you know, rewinding, fast forward, play, stuff like that. The cap stand here and the pinch roller, this is what actually controls the speed of the tape while it's playing. This is the take-up roll, and this is, of course, if you're rewinding. This just sort of slips but turns, and that feeds the tape in, but this is what's pulling the tape through at the exact right speed, you know, to maintain proper playback. So if you have a problem with this, like say this pinch roller here, this black roller is say all corroded or gummy or falling apart or hard, then you might not have the ability to play the tape properly, even if these are turning properly. So you can kind of see that a little bit of black gunk is on this little pad, but not a whole lot. I'm gonna get a cotton swab, and I'm gonna use some Windex on here to Just try to get this a bit cleaner because that alcohol is not doing it. And I recently had a video, I think on the main channel, where I talked about this, cleaning disc heads. Sometimes alcohol is not enough, and you have to, if it's really gummed up, you got to use something a bit more soapy. And I find that Windex works really well. And yeah, this is some black gunk is coming off here. Oops, and while I'm at it, I'm going to use this with some Windex and clean this pinch roller here. Now this is rubber, and personally I don't like to use alcohol on these. I mean, lots of people do. I don't know, I've always heard that it kind of dries out. Look at that gunk coming off there. So yeah, I've heard that dries out rubber, so you don't necessarily want to use any kind of alcohol to clean rubber, so I use Windex instead. Yep. You just want to make sure that's nice and rubbery, and it seems okay. Is it? Yeah, it's pretty hard. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that causes a problem. All right, let's try to clean this a little better. I think we are good to go. All right, so here's a tape. It's Top Gun. I'm not going to actually show any of this. I'll put this in. If there's a problem, I will pull the power cord and then manually unload all this. So I have my hand on the power cord in case this all decides to jam. Okay, so definitely this loading belt is slipping, but there, I loaded the tape properly. Okay, cool, so it's playing. This is all normal. So when this belt is slipping like it is here, I had to kind of help the tape into the VCR, and let's try to eject it here. Let's see, I hit stop and eject. I think it's slipping. So I'm gonna try to clean this belt a little bit here. Let's see. First, I'm just gonna use a little Windex on a microfiber cloth here. Should unplug it while I have my hands over the switching power supply here. So I'm just going through the belt here. I'm trying to clean it off. Okay, not a lot of crap came off of there. But sometimes it's just, you know, dusty or whatever, and just a little Windex is all you need to get a good, nice, solid thing. Now it's trying to load the tape. Let's roll it back here. See, it was actually moving the basket there. So this is how you can manually unload the thing. So when I'm turning this, see it's starting to move here. But there we go. So it's back. Okay, put the power back to the VCR. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if it loads on without help. Okay, that worked. Nope, I was not happy. Let's try that again. Interesting. Okay. How weird that this worked and it's now deciding not to work. We actually got a successful play out of it, but now it's not working. I reset the power. What's it say on the front here? Weird. That time, clearly it's working. All right, I'm gonna hit stop and let's see if we can rewind. So with VHS, the later VCRs, you see the tape is still spooled around here completely. Okay, so it's going backwards right now. See how quickly it goes, that's pretty normal. Let's hit stop. It stops very abruptly. Now it just sort of spools the tape to kind of take up any slack. And let's hit fast forward. So it should be going this way now. But yeah, earlier VHS decks would actually unload the tape completely while it's fast forwarding and rewinding. Later ones like this definitely don't do that. As you can see, it's still completely spooled around the head here. Very typical. All right, fast forward rewind, working. And we hit play. Actually, what I'm gonna do is rewind this all the way to the beginning because there's like some previews at the beginning, and I feel a little bit better at least showing those without audio than the middle of the movie. All righty, let's eject and see if that insert and eject process works a little bit better. So it unloaded the tape. It's all very slow. It's just, maybe I'm just not used to this mechanism. Okay, let's do that again. Okay. I think what was happening with that in and out is the VCR, when it's off, it seemed to just take the tape in and then pop it right back out again. So if I turn the VCR off, it's off right now. Let me put this in. If I turn it back on, so now it's on. Okay, I think what's going on. This is what I think what's going on. I think, notice how when I put it in, it started playing right away, and that's because the Write Protect tab is snapped out of this tape because it's commercial tape. I think what's happening is that this thing must retain the programs. Like if you said to record TV programs, most VCRs, when you unplug the power, would lose that program. I think what's going on is that this VCR retains that. And when I put in a write protected tape, it says nope, because it senses that it's write protected and it can't do program recordings on a write protected tape. So, and the reason why I think this is happening, because if I eject, let's look at, unload, okay, give me the tape. Whole thing's just slow, seems very slow. Let's see if I can get this to show up. Come on. I want the camera. Okay, I think you can kind of see, it's certainly easier for me to read. There's the time because it's on right now, but when I turn it off, see the flashing clock icon right there? Hopefully that is visible. There's a flashing clock and a flashing tape icon. That to me indicates that it thinks it needs to record because of the clock, as in like timer recording, and it will not be happy getting a tape with this tab broken out right here. I'm quite sure with this particular tape mechanism that this motor not only handles the loading and unloading, I'm pretty sure it also is handling the tape loading and stuff like this, moving the capstan, the pinch roller around and this stuff, because when I put it in, oh, let's turn the VCR back on so it doesn't just eject. Okay, it's on. When I put this in, see, this is still spinning while it's loading all of this. Stop spinning now because it does not handle the tape transport of like the turning of the spindles. It's just handling the movement of all this stuff. If I hit stop and we hit eject, yeah, it starts spinning right away. So if this belt is slipping, it's gonna affect the loading and unloading of the tapes. I still think it's actually slipping because it just all seems a bit slower than it should be. So I should replace this belt. Does this belt come off? Let me unplug the power. Let's see if this comes off easily. Oh, look at that. How easy is that? That is awesome. Let me see if I have a replacement belt, but actually first, okay, let me find my little belt collection here. I have a bunch of belts here. I need to order some more because I found one vendor online that seems to have like a whole bunch of different size belts and things. All of these look too little. These don't have sizes on them, but these are really small belts, and this belt is, I think, bigger than these. How about these? Yep, those are too small. Yeah, it's almost like this one. Let's see, let me get my caliper. This belt here, the one I just took off, it's about 1 millimeter. And like this and all this stuff I have, it looks like it's maybe half. Oh no, actually, this one is 1 millimeter. The one I took off, it's almost like 1.25 millimeter, but maybe it's 1.5. I mean, it's not the most accurate caliper, right? I could certainly try one of these thinner belts. I just don't think it's gonna work. Oh, maybe I have more. Hold on, let me look. Let me look. What else do I got in here? Okay, these are flat belts, so no, those aren't gonna work. All right, here's a belt. It's thinner, but it's certainly smaller, a little bit smaller than the one that's on there. So power's off. Let me try to put this on. Oh, let me clean these little rollers too. This is looking a little crust-o-matic. Okay, there we go. Another belt is reinstalled. It's definitely too small. Well, as in, you know, the diameter of it. Let's see if I plug this in and we put a tape in, then it works a little faster. Okay, power on, tape in. Oh yeah, that is working normally. See how much faster the whole thing moved there? Let's stop it and eject it. Okay, maybe that's no different. It seemed like it was faster going in. All right, well, either way, on this particular mechanism, if you have a Philips VCR or you have another VCR with the same mechanism and it is slipping it, loading the tape, or it's not like loading the tape or unloading the tape properly around the heads, it's this belt right here. You can change it without taking anything out. You just unravel it and take it off and put it back on. Super easy. Okay. I'm definitely gonna have to order some more belts, some bigger ones, and I'm gonna put the right one on here. But I will leave that one on there for now. I'm just about to plug this into the monitor so we can look at that. But take a look at that piece of paper there from cleaning the heads. All that crud came off the read-write head there. So this paper method works really, really well, I gotta say. All right, what I am gonna do is plug this VCR into my RetroTink here. So I'm gonna watch this on the big screen, so to speak. Maybe I'll do a video capture as well while I'm at it. So I got an SVHS cable here. All right, SVHS out. And we need some speaker action going on here. Let's use these speakers here. All right, so there it is. We have video. Put the phone on silent there. Let's see here. Let's go to full screen. Full screen preview. Yes, there it is. Okay, so channel 2, huh? Let's see. AV in rear, AV in front. Nice. How about menu? Oh, what an ugly looking menu. How do you, that goes in and out. Okay, select is channel up, down. End is menu, confirm is okay. There's actually an okay button on here. DSPC. No clue what that is. I'm gonna have to look that up. Oops. On-screen mode, on or off. Blue background, on or off. Timer, recording speed. Manual. Let's see here, change. Okay, auto or manual. Video stabilizer. Wonder what that is. Let's, I don't know, turn that off and on. Audio out, hi-fi or mono. So mono would be, of course, the linear track that was in here, not the spinning head audio. Okay, SAP or stereo, that's for the RF input. Auto DBS. DBS, record link. Must be some kind of like, I don't know, editing thing. SVHS mode, on or off, okay. Rear inputs, you have to manually pick if you're gonna be S-video in or not. Got it. Tuner setup, okay, let's quickly look in there. Let's see, cable or, let's see, how do we switch this change? Change to antenna. Okay, whatever, no big deal. And what's under initial setup? Clock, whatever. DBS receiver. Okay, so this is something where it like beams the IR controls out of the VCR to try to change your satellite receiver, digital broadcast satellite, I think it stands for. It's, I think, maybe able to change the channel, but no, maybe not. Maybe, it says controller. It beats me. This is something I'll never use, so I don't really care about that. And it does seem to support cable box as well. So I don't know what you could do here. AV rear, who knows, whatever. That is not stuff I'll ever use, right? Anything else under initial setup? Clock, language, English. What do we got for languages? Espanol, French. Okay, French, Spanish, and English. And then we have the VCR Plus channel thing. I never used it, so. Okay, so I recall what this is when you looked in your TV guide and you saw that the TV program you wanted to record was on channel 2, you know, in the TV guide, but on your cable system, channel 2, say it was ABC, was actually on cable on channel 7. So you had to do a mapping in here to say anytime VCR Plus was set for channel 2, which is what you saw in TV guide, you put in channels, the VCR would tune to channel 7 for that. So you still have to do this manual setup. Even though it was trying to be easy to use, the fact that cable TV networks rarely or often remapped your channels for you, which was a bit frustrating. But again, something that we will never ever use. Okay, I certainly waffled on a lot here. Let's hit play. Are we gonna get a picture? Getting something. Okay, it's sort of flickering on and off quite a bit. The RetroTink doesn't always work super great with VHS because VHS has sort of unstable sync. Oh, there. Oh, no. Okay, so RetroTink is very much struggling there. Okay, is there audio though? Yes, there is audio. Okay, I'm gonna have to plug it into the old PVM here because we're getting an image, but it's certainly having problems, and I'm pretty sure that is all about this Tink here. It just does not like, let's change the modes on the side here. There's a couple of little switches here. See if that helps at all. All right, well, that's a bit disappointing, par for the course. Let's just switch through the modes on here and see if any of the other ones work better. Nope, they do not. All right, hit stop there. Okay, and yes, of course it's stuck in SLP, as they always are. Let's plug the S-Video into the Sony PVM, and we'll try that. There it is, Sony PVM right here. Let's see, okay, we can see everything in the camera, so if I hit play, I'm sure that's gonna work a lot better, and it does. Absolutely, like I said, RetroTink, it just doesn't appreciate the very unstable sync that we're seeing. So on the VCR here, there are level meters, which I kind of like. I kind of like that. Let's see, what else is there to do? I don't know. Let's eject this, and I'm put on a different tape where I can play the audio because I want to make sure that the hi-fi tracking is working properly. All right, here is a tape. This is a Sony tape, and you notice this little gray-looking it's electrical tape actually in there. That is because I drilled the hole for the S-Video. It's underneath there. And if I peel that tape off, then decks like this, or my other Panasonic, will know or think this is an S-Video tape. This is just like a Sony, this is what kind of tape it is right here. It's some kind of a cheapy, well, it was 3 for $5, 6-hour premium grade, but it pretty much works great for SVHS. So let's pop this in. And let's rewind this. Nice fast rewind. Oh, look at that. Okay, so on the TV, let's zoom in. It's actually showing us like where in the tape it is. Now the Panasonic, some Panasonics do that as well, beginning and end, and it's gonna give you an indication of where in the tape it is. Now, this time code as well is looking at the sync signals that are recorded on the tape through the control track. But luckily, it should slow down the rewind, which is what it's doing as it gets close to the start, so it doesn't like yank the tape out of the, the spindle has the tape, the leader is stuck in there, and if it's going too fast, it can just pull that right out. So it slows way down as it gets to the start or end. There we go. So you don't have a really horrible, abrupt stop. Okay, let's hit play. Now this tape, there we go, is actually Super VHS ET. Ooh. Okay, okay, well, when we look here at the front, is this even visible on the camera? It says SVHS right there, SP. It was saying DPS, whatever that top menu item was. It popped up on the second, it was flashing. I wonder if that's some kind of thing that tests your tape quality automatically and adjusts the tracking and all the levels and stuff. That might be what's happening there. So I recorded this tape myself, and there's just a bunch of black at the beginning because the front of this tape's a little crunched up because I've tested in other VCRs and it's got a little mangled. So, although it looks pretty good here. So let's turn up the audio here. So far, so good. I don't hear any buzzing or anything. I mean, this VCR appears to be working perfectly. This is awesome. Great find for 10 bucks at the old thrift store. While we wait, I am gonna take some Windex here. Just start to give this thing a little bit of a clean. This shiny fake metal plastic certainly gets scratched up and dirty looking. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Analog Basement. There it is.
Digital basement. Today's video, we're going to be trying to fix this IBM 9-inch VGA monitor. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. This IBM 9-inch monochrome VGA monitor is incredibly cute. Just look at the design of this thing.
So looking at the picture, it's pretty good, although it just seems like it's a little wavy, like that vertical line there on the edge of the monitor. Let's see if I can pause. How does the pause look? Where's the pause on here? Pause, here it is. All right, that's a little jumpy. Yeah, some of the vertical lines there while I was playing were just a little not perfect. And that could, of course, come from the recording VCR, because this is not a commercial tape. I recorded it on another VCR, an older VCR. But yeah, it's, so this is the like frame advance, and it's, it's not great. Although it's weird because this tape does the exact same thing in the other VCR. So that could be the way the other one, the Panasonic one, recorded this. I don't know, you get this little bit of static at the top. Let's see if I can. Okay, so that's fast forward at one, you know, there's probably 2 speeds of fast forward. If I push it again, nope, that's it. There's 1 speed of fast forward. And let's hit play. That looks good though. That's the 4 heads in action. Play, rewind. All right, that looks good too. I mean, you know, this little bit of broken up stuff is completely normal for VHS. Hit play. Quality looks good, and of course, like I said, this tape here is not Super VHS at all, and that's the SVHS ET mode in effect, so it's recording Super VHS signals onto a normal high-grade tape, which of course by the end even the cheapy tapes are high-grade, so you don't even need that little piece of tape, you know, or drill out that hole like I have done on this tape. You don't need that because it can actually just record. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That could be the monitor, to be honest, actually, now I think about it. But anyhow, Super VHS, quite a bit more high resolution than regular VHS. And the fact that it records on the regular tapes is actually quite a boon. So if you're going to be using a VCR and you find one with Super VHS ET and you are going to record anything, I mean, like, why would you be recording stuff? Like, if you're weird like me, maybe you would. But yeah, that's playing back really, really well. Nice. Uniform, no weird color, like blotches or anything happening. The audio was good. Let's just try again.
And luckily, white phosphor screens like this will surely be are pretty resistant to overall fading. I found their longevity.
Sounds all right. Now I'm curious, is there a way to change the tracking without the remote? Sometimes the channel up down button does it. Yes, it does. Cool. Okay. Well, we actually lost the picture entirely. Went to a blue screen. And you push the up-down button here. Is there a hi-fi indicator on here? You know, there's not, actually. I figured it would say hi-fi. And usually when the tracking's off, you lose your hi-fi. Let's see, go the other way. Pushing the down channel. There we go. Okay. This particular mechanism on this VCR is a little bit more compact than the Panasonic ones I'm used to. This is for tensioning the tape right here. Push on it, it actually removes the tension from the tape. Actually, it's funny how it's not causing it to break up. There we go, see how it's breaking up? That's because if you don't have the correct tension on the tape, it's not gonna be pulled against the head properly. So there we go, we're losing a bit of picture on the top. And of course, if I let's try to slow down the head a little bit. See what it's doing there? Ooh, that's kind of a neat effect. Let me zoom in here so you can see that a bit better. When I slow down the head a little bit, See, it moves it side to side. And if I put the audio on,
really strong. Oh, there it is. 14 kilovolts right here on the CRT. So that's what the high voltage runs at, which is right down there. This is a transformer here that
makes weird audio noises as well, and that's just the hi-fi that's losing sync to the, it's an FM carrier that records the audio in hi-fi to the tape. You know, that underlying signal I was mentioning earlier, it's stored as a, or it's written as an FM signal. So of course you can actually get static and noise on it if you have problems with it, just like you would on the radio, right? So me messing with the head there was causing that. So definitely I am stoked that this VCR seems to work really well without any issues. So yeah, all I need to do really is maybe order a new belt, although maybe this one wasn't slipping. What I may do is just boil this in some water and I'll reinstall that back on here. But pretty sweet. Now I have a Super VHS VCR, and yeah, when I hit it, it causes the picture to glitch. Now I found a Super VHS VCR that's compact and little, that totally works, that I can put upstairs under my TV, and 10 bucks. Can't be beat. It's crazy if you look on eBay right now. Prices for these are like silly, really expensive. And I think because a lot of them are just broken or don't work anymore, so finding a working one is pretty sweet. And I think by the time this was made in 2000, things were really, really cost reduced. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's like super unreliable either. There's a lot less complexity in this machine. If you see older VCRs, they have like circuit boards all around the top and on the bottom and like boards all over the place. A lot more going on, a lot more to go wrong. This thing has a little power supply. It has some of these boards here. It'll have some chips and surface mount stuff on the bottom. And that's it. Like the mechanism is all self-contained, pops out really easily for service. You know, the head connects with this ribbon cable. It's all relatively simple stuff. So there's the same amount of mechanical necessities where like moving the tape around and tensioning it is all the same as the very first machines. But the first ones accomplished it with a lot more mechanical complexity and relays and solenoids. And they sort of engineered all that complexity into just some little plastic parts that are what's on this. So yes, it's all plastic, but I think it's all nylon, so it should be relatively reliable. And yeah, anyways, there you go. I'm curious if you've ever worked with VCRs like this, or like this particular mechanism, and you're aware of like potential foibles or problems that always seem to go wrong with it. Definitely let me know in the description. I'll be very curious about it. I know very little about VCRs. Like I've sort of learned quite a bit from 12 Volt Vids, watching his channel. And he has just a lot of cool background information on what it was like to fix these things back in the old days. And he runs across things, especially like Betamax stuff, that he cannot repair because there are gears that break in there and some of the mechanisms, and they're not replaceable at this point in time. And therefore the whole VCR is just junk. Like it becomes parts to fix another one maybe, but because that, I think there's one particular set of VCRs where it's always the same gear that's breaking, or maybe it's actually a Sony VHS one that does that. Either way, when it dies, that's it. It's now toast. And I'm sure a VCR like this, while it works right now, if it's not a belt that you can replace, it's some other piece of plastic that is sort of fallen apart and just degraded, that's the end of the line for it. Unless we can 3D print replacement parts, which, you know, maybe in the future, it'll be a lot easier to do that. But at this point, you know, these things are gonna work until they're dead, and that's gonna be that. So if you have tapes that have stuff on them that you really care about, I really advise you to try to get the footage off the tapes onto a digital medium and put it on safe cloud storage, hard drives, whatever, multiple places, so you can keep that footage, because there will be a time when the VCRs are all broken and the tapes are degraded, like the magnetic oxide has come off and they don't work anymore. So yeah, there's a limited amount of time, I think, for this stuff to work. And I guess that is it. So if you thought my little funky interlude into a VHS VCR was interesting, thumbs up. And if you didn't, and you hate this kind of video, you know, you thumbs down or skip it or whatever. Thanks to my patrons. Really appreciate the support you give me. This is my second channel, so a subscribe would be hugely appreciated. The subscribers, the number of subscribers, like that hitting that button is really what tells YouTube that you're interested in the channel. And it seems like when you have a low number of subscribers, it really doesn't suggest your videos to people very much. But when you have a high number, it helps get the word out there. A lot of the views come from the recommendations that YouTube shows. It's not so much from the actual subscriber hitting that button. Like you as a subscriber, you get, pops up on your feed, but it's more like a general interest thing. And my second channel, which of course has way less subscribers than my main channel, the videos, which can often be, similar, they're me, right? They just get a lot less views. So anyways, that is it. So stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.